Hey everybody, welcome to the Geek Fruit Show. My name is Tejas, and with me is my co-host Jishnu.
Hello.
And my other co-host Dinkar. How are you?
I'm demoted to other co-host status now.
I mean, next time we'll flip it around. It's fine.
All right, cool.
But the more important question is, do you have Coldplay tickets? I don't know.
I don't want them.
Yeah, you didn't want them? Did you even try? By the way,
No,
you
because
you weren't gonna go.
Well, look, I got Green Day tickets, and that is all I need.
Right.
So I'm good, and I haven't been interested in Coldplay since X and Y.
Since
Oh.
X and Y.
No, since Viva La Vida. What is it called?
yes.
Not
Viva La Vida,
Was
yeah,
it
and
Viva La
Death and
Vida?
all
Yeah.
his
Or
friends.
Death and All His Friends.
Or Death and all his friends.
What came
Dinkar?
after that? Coldplay tickets?
Yeah.
I didn't even try.
Why?
Is
it because they're
I
all-
felt like it was a long shot.
Yeah, it was a long shot. Also, I mean, they don't play all the... They play all the singles and the hit ones. And
Yes.
some of the best stuff is like, you know, a
Not-
little more under the
I
radar.
felt I'd give up my potential tickets for someone who really, really cared.
Oh, wow. Okay. Very nice of you.
And I did. So you're welcome.
Okay, great. No, there is a reason we are talking about Coldplay because this show is about pop culture, but this is in the news of late. It's all the rage with coming to buying tickets, especially between Coldplay and Oasis in the UK. Their reunion tour for the 25th or 30th anniversary of What's the Story, Morning Glory? Yes.
I believe it's
Something
big.
like
It's
that.
commemorating the first anniversary of them not wanting to kill each other.
Ah, very true. Okay, cool. So there's been a lot of ruckus around buying tickets, and it has finally caught on to India. This is the first time probably I've ever seen people go so nuts around or not understand how virtual queuing works.
Like understanding how it works in real time.
Yeah.
I see this as a win because now hopefully they will tell all their other friends who are the biggest, acts out there in the music world that hey, people in India actually give a damn. And there is a big audience, and we can sell out. And so maybe more of us should come to India. Maybe not in the twilight years of our career.
Well, they're not
but then
they're hardly in the
Coldplay has
twilight
always,
years.
Yeah, and Coldplay has always looked at India as
As an opportunity.
a growth market.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they've been here a few times already. Obviously,
Yeah.
they were here for Global
Shot a
Citizen.
video here.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, what video was that again?
Was it Him for the Weekend? Him for a
Right.
Weekend.
I'm feeling drunk and high.
It
I
had
don't
the
like
word
that song
so
either.
high.
Yeah.
I don't like that song. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, anyway.
the video's
They,
cool.
they brought Pharrell down for it, didn't they?
What?
What?
Wasn't Pharrell in that video?
No, Beyonce is in that video.
Beyonce's in that video.
And Sonam Kapoor.
Why was Pharrell in India playing Holi? What is that for?
He just does whatever he wants.
Asian paints, I don't know, something.
Okay.
But no, I think this is good in some ways. Just like I said, because now at least it makes an impact and people recognize that there is a demand over here and we're not just like an afterthought, which we have been for the longest time.
We've had big acts
But
here
when we
before.
get
That
big
is-
acts, but when we get big acts, we get them in their that third leg of their tour. You know what I mean?
Okay, I know what you mean. You're saying when they're really 1 foot in the ground.
Yeah, yes, because every time people announce, world tour, it's always all right, that means we're going to Europe.
Yeah,
and it's
going to Europe.
by the way, I have
True,
I have a second win. We're going all the way to
South
Australia.
America. Oh, okay, cool.
No, I'm going all the way to Australia, and they're bypassing 7,000 miles of country.
Yeah, no, fair.
And we
fair
are one
point.
of them, and so we get leg 7. That's all I'm saying. I don't want leg 7. I want to be on leg 1 or 2.
Okay, so you would have enjoyed it if Coldplay came during the X and Y tour.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
How old were you? We were in high school, I think 2006 or 7.
Something
or
like
Just
that,
checking though, the last instance like this I can remember,
Yeah.
still a smaller percentage of the population, but when Taylor Swift was doing her Eras tour in Singapore, I did queue for that one
Okay.
virtually.
Right.
Had to download some Singaporean app which I think is still on my phone. The population of Singapore is 56.4 lakhs. What is that? 5.64 million.
Yeah.
Correct.
And I believe there were 200 million people queuing for the tickets.
Yeah, makes
That
sense.
is
Quite
mad.
insane.
Makes sense.
That is mad. I just think that it's insane that
Most of them from India, by the way, probably.
yeah, I knew some people who made it for the Singapore show as well. But I just think it's insane to think that you can do 3 shows in India. They start off with 2 shows and they added one, and they did that in Abu Dhabi as well. My brother was like, "Yo, I'm gonna get tickets. I'm gonna figure it out." After I didn't get tickets, and I was like, "All right, good luck." And then he sent me a screenshot of his queue, and I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'm not seeing them this time, but it's fine." But it is kind of it's a little crazy to think that you can cover the kind of demand India probably has for a band like Coldplay in 3 shows at DY Patil. Is that weird?
I don't think they thought they would cover.
No, I mean, I don't
demand.
think they would.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're doing so many at Wembley. I don't think they're doing a Europe tour, but they're doing 8 or 10 shows at Wembley.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That's
They need
insane.
to.
They need to.
Yeah.
I suspect, the ticket prices were astonishingly low. Like they started at 2,500, I want to say, or
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
So they clearly intentionally kept the prices affordable for the general
Yeah.
public, at least at retail prices.
They completely
That's a
misjudged
conscious
everything.
decision.
Yeah.
And I don't think they'd be making that much money off the gig itself directly, right? Like they're doing this for the fans.
It's a growth market.
It's a growth market.
Yeah.
But then,
So,
But then at the same time, they also
can't-
announced
they
they-
can't afford to hang out here for 10 days and just, take on the opportunity cost of not playing 8 shows at Wembley.
I mean,
I think they were
it's
doing what
totally
we do
cool.
as musicians, which is like they were going on holiday to
Yeah.
India and they were like, let's do a show.
Why did they do a full India tour? All the major Indian touring destinations: Bombay, Delhi,
Delhi,
Bangalore, back to Bombay.
Yeah,
No,
they could be doing it.
But it's also funny that like they're growing their market now, but they also like a week later just announce, "Hey, by the way, only 2 more albums left, and then we're done."
They've said this
like-
before, though. So that's nonsense.
You don't buy
They
it?
said,
You don't buy
yeah. They've said that we're done. They changed the name of the band. They did that thing for like a hot second. Yeah.
What is it called?
To what?
They
Cold pressed.
No, something like it was not even in English. It was a different name, and then they changed it, and then they came, and then they
Did they
released
change
an
their name to
album.
an emoji?
No,
Because that's
but
a very
they've-
Coldplay move.
It is
Yeah, I
very
could
Coldplay.
totally
They've
see
been
that.
doing it quite
We are
often.
now the heart emoji.
They have a new album coming out,
Rainbow Heart.
and it's already got it's also got emojis in the.
Of course it
in the-
does.
yeah.
Oh, moon
Music.
music.
Yeah.
Music.
Moon music. Anyway, listen.
This is the music of the spheres, I want to say,
This is the tour. The tour is of the previous album, Music of the Spheres.
which has that one. So I skimmed through the album. Pretty much what I expect of
Yeah,
Coldplay
it's
at this
fine.
point. It's fine. But they had this 11-minute
Yeah,
sweep
Color
type
Tuner.
song. Very nice.
Really
Yeah.
cool.
Enjoyed
Yeah,
that.
awesome. Dude, here's
Good
the
ambient
thing.
music.
Here's the thing. I have this playlist on Spotify, which is called Songs That Prove That Coldplay is actually a
All
decent
right.
band, right? I'm telling you, they have all these bangers, not bangers, but like these really, really, really beautiful songs hidden, like,
Of course they do.
between,
Yeah.
all of their songs, So, and
Absolutely.
the problem is like, if you go and watch Coldplay right now, to be a proper hipster, they're not going to play any of those songs. They're not going to
Yeah.
play like stuff like Talk
They have
or
north of 20 songs that I think are insane.
Yeah.
And yes, you're absolutely right. I'm going to hear like at best 5 of them.
yeah.
And that's why I don't want to, stand in these giant lines and pay a ludicrous amount of money. Because
Okay.
like if I could like get a private Coldplay concert and I tell you like I'll make you the set list, I would eat that shit up.
Yeah, of course.
But I know I'm not going to get anything close to that set list anymore.
Yeah.
So
They-
it's like,
that's
screw it,
So
Give us,
Coldplay is one of those
let's
bands
say
which is like
let's say we get there.
yeah,
We get to shout one request.
Oh geez.
What are you asking for?
nice.
Oh,
good cue.
Man.
And Chris plays it. He goes like, "You with the emoji banner." I'll play your request.
I want this emoji. And then you just point up one. No, Jishnu, Yogi,
Knee jerk is to say like shiver, but there's one.
They'll do
on-
Shiver,
I
they'll
know-
do Shiver.
They'll do Shiver? No.
yeah, they'll do it. They'll do
I
it.
don't know if they'll
Not
do
even
they-
4x4. You can't dance to it.
Yeah.
They'll do it, they'll do it.
There is crap. I'm forgetting the name. There is something on Death and All His Friends also that I really
Yes,
like.
Violet Hill.
Violet Hill was
Strawberry
Strawberry
Swing.
Swing.
I
Strawberry
love
Swing. I love
Strawberry
They
Strawberry
play
Swing.
both of those, right?
No,
Two.
No, man.
That's
Only two
far
maybe-
gone.
Maybe Violet Hill.
Maybe Violet Hill, yeah, but that's far gone. Retired.
There was
you know?
also one. Good God, what's it called?
Sparks. Warning sign. Give
Sparks
it to
was
me.
great. Sparks was great.
Yeah.
They won't play Sparks?
They won't play Sparks.
Oh, man.
Oh, the hardest part. I like that.
Oh, I
That
love
was
the
like a
hardest part. That's such a
Sort
good-
of fourth single. Very random
Very
music
good.
video from XY.
Very good.
Really great song.
Dinkar?
Talk.
Love
Talk.
Talk.
Love Talk.
Or Green Eyes.
No,
Nice.
which one was
Also
that?
good.
What
From
else?
Rush. No.
It
B-sides.
might have been,
The-
yeah, I think it might have been a B-side to something. But good.
Sure.
Or Trouble. I like
Trouble
Love
is
Talk.
great.
Love Talk.
Trouble is great.
One of the first piano
One of the
things
first,
ever. learned.
yeah. Oh. I would ask for them to play Yellow. Have you guys heard that one?
Waste of time. Anyway,
at the stars.
I would probably
Look
go
how
with
they
the
shine
song
for
called
you.
Glass of Water, which is from the EP.
Prospect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Solid
was
song, great, but not in 4/4. So yes, they would not ever play that.
Can't even dance to it.
But you know what they do, right? So they play all the big songs. Like they do play Charlie Brown, which I love. So they'll play all of those with tracks and they'll play it. And then when they want to do the stuff, which is kind of like, okay, we don't need tracks. So they come up in front and then they do it like just like stripped down and stuff. So they still get their moment to do those things. But anyway, Coldplay. Oasis would probably play all the songs we want, right? Like they would.
Probably.
Yeah, they would.
Probably.
Yeah.
They'll
So
play all the
some
hits, yeah.
bands would do.
They also just have
Those
a
songs.
lot
Yeah.
fewer songs.
Yeah, that's true.
Compared
they-
to Coldplay?
compared to Coldplay?
Yeah,
Like,
Coldplay
sheer
has
numbers,
way-
of course.
way
Because
more
Coldplay's on what
albums.
album number
7, something like that?
More
8?
maybe.
Yeah.
10 on more.
No, not
No?
10. Are you mad?
If you include the Prospects marches and the
No, even then they wouldn't.
There are a
have.
couple of 5-song EPs they have.
Yeah, they
Anyway.
have 2. Yeah, but anyway, that's the situation with Coldplay. I mean, I'm not even going to get into.
Oasis tickets.
I did. I mean, I
didn't.
applied knowing that this would happen. I mean,
Yeah,
I
it was a.
I didn't get
very
that.
long
Zero
shot.
surprise.
But I did get tickets for Katie Tunstall's 20th year celebration of Eye to the Telescope, which is happening at Royal Albert Hall
Nice.
in June next year. So I bought it on a whim.
was there any queue for that?
Yeah, there was a queue, but I got it, so
Okay,
it's fine. So yeah, I'm very excited.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. I've never been to Royal Albert Hall. All right, so we're not even going to get into the fiasco that is what's happening after the Coldplay tickets have gone on resale and all that stuff. A little too
It's
close
just-
to home.
I find it
Yeah.
surprising that people are reading so much into it.
Yeah.
Haven't we always had?
No,
tickets
that's what I
sold
said.
at higher prices.
I opened this by saying that it's not occurred here in India before.
Yeah.
And
it's just
people are
happening on
taking
home
it
turf, and now
very
we're, like,
offended by that.
yeah.
So
We've always been aware of it, but like it's when it happens to you, they're like, okay, now I guess I have to acknowledge this horrible.
Well, the conspiracy theory part doesn't make sense to me, but all right.
no, it's stupid. That's stupid.
Yeah.
Like this happens everywhere in the world. Like even
Why
normal
is the
acts,
police
smaller acts.
looking into it. Yeah. Anyway,
Why? Sting is interested in Coldplay tickets. Okay, very good. Let's move on to.
people are still trying to sell their Sting tickets from Lollapalooza. They're like, hey, got 2 tickets to Lollapalooza 2023.
Oh my god. Let's move on to some trailers. We got some trailers to talk about.
All right.
Beginning with Ballerina from the world of
You might
John
see them?
Wick. Yeah, dude. Guess which song is in the trailer? I was like, oh god, why? When can we stop doing this thing? Of taking like songs and like modding them, remixing, sampling, and then putting in the trailer. It's
You get
just
that-
like
the one piano note.
I would,
slowed and reverb.
Ballerina.
It is. I swear to God, that's what it is.
I would really like to know how they go about doing this, because like when they make the movie, the writer and director, they have their ideas for soundtracks. Some scripts have specific songs in the script, right?
Yeah.
Some scripts don't have a song.
Yeah,
It's
you'll have
like-
a music supervisor go and seek out.
who
a
will then
track.
go and be like, okay, I feel like this scene needs this kind of vibe, this song fits that vibe, and they shoehorn it in, right? But then when it comes to the trailer, at what point, and who's the guy that decides? At what point do they decide, okay, these are the shots we're going to show, this is the bit of the plot we're going to give away, these are the things we're going to reveal,
Right.
and then they say, okay, what song is going to go in the trailer? Big thing. This is the song. And then I want to know how they go about shopping it around to figure who's the guy that's going to redo.
Right.
This
So, funny you mentioned this. I actually had a project like this year.
Seriously?
Yeah, I did it this year for a
what song?
trailer. So there was a show on Netflix called Killer Soup.
Yeah.
Okay, which came out
Yeah.
like Jan. And I worked on the music for the trailer, and I had to remix Tu Hi Re by A.R. Rahman. I had to do
Yeah.
that. So, it was a lot less complicated than I expected it to be. I was like, oh, you're going to have to get some paperwork, licenses, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I ripped the song from the internet. I split the tracks using AI, and I worked on it. And they got the license.
got the-
So that is so yeah, it's probably not.
Did you replace your stems eventually?
No, I had to use SB's voice in it.
Yeah, but did you replace
Oh, yeah,
your
I-
AI
yeah.
stems with the original stems?
No. I didn't get the original stems.
Oh.
I recomposed stuff on top of it. So
Okay.
so I
So
didn't
you
have to
just
use it,
took,
and I had to do
SB's
what we're
vocals.
talking about in like this Ballerina trailer, which is just using
I remember that
spacey
trailer,
vocals.
Yeah.
You did have.
Yeah.
You had to keep stopping for a lot of dialogue.
Yeah, that's the other thing we don't account for.
Tu
But
hi re, this soup is killer.
Elton John is just like sitting there waiting. But yeah, it's a strange thing. I don't know if it's like this, in the Wild West.
Because the thing is like that, the song identity can sometimes be like the biggest thing that stays with an audience leading up to the release of the movie.
Right.
Like for instance,
yeah.
like Oscar-winning Suicide Squad is tethered to Bohemian Rhapsody because of that trailer, right? Like when that happened, like everybody lost their mind.
Or
It wasn't
even
supposed to
Like
be-
a
you
Prayer
have
for
those,
Deadpool and
yeah.
Wolverine.
You
But-
have the trailer cutting houses.
Yeah, exactly.
This kind of thing.
This is how
Yeah.
we learned about it through Cameron Diaz in the movie The Holiday.
Correct.
Absolutely.
And they tried to get the the production house that cut the Suicide Squad trailer to recut the movie.
Yeah, that's the first and last time I've heard of that happening.
But anyway, to address Jishnu's other cues,
Yeah.
did they come to you with Tu Hi Re?
So the reason
And
it was
why that
used
song?
is because Manoj Bajpayee's character sings it in the
Oh, yes,
in
he
the,
does.
in the
Okay.
show. So then they were like, oh, here's an easy cue.
That didn't occur.
And so
I'll
it
take
kind
it.
of like
Not a bad show.
comes out.
I like it.
Yeah.
Interesting one.
Yes.
So, what do we think about this?
So about
Wick.
John Wick, the ballerina from the John Wick universe. So it is interesting. It's Ana de Armas playing another assassin from this world of these assassins, which we're so familiar with now. There are 4 movies down. It's not a spoiler, I think, to say that John Wick's role in these movies has concluded. But this is set between John Wick 3 and 4 for a myriad of
Is
reasons.
that important?
Yeah, it is important.
Okay.
It is important.
So this is connected.
Have you
It's
guys
not,
seen? You guys have seen John
it's
Wick
not like-
4?
No.
Yeah.
You have.
Yes.
Okay, so the events that take place in that film
But is
require
this
this movie.
connected to the story directly? It's not like
It's-
say
no,
the
it's just-
Continental.
it's not
series,
like-
which was
it-
disconnected.
It was disconnected, but it's set in that same universe as yeah.
Sure.
So why it's connected is because obviously it has more to do with the same characters. Like Ian
Sure.
McShane reprises his character. Also, so anyway, there's a bunch of stuff. Now, I had a couple of issues with this. One is that Ana de Armas was not featured in the previous films at all.
Yeah.
Rina Sawayama was in the last one. She was excellent.
very
So
good.
I really thought that, that was a shoo-in for her to be in
Yeah.
this movie
I
as
thought
her
they
character.
were doing a show with her anyway.
I don't know, and with a guy from Ip Man.
Ip Man.
Donnie Yen.
Donnie Yen.
Love him.
So he was excellent in John Wick 4 as well. So
So
I
good.
so I thought that that's the direction they're going. But instead, Ana de Armas was playing this kind of character in the last Bond movie, where she pops in for like 20 minutes and is out. It's being kind of like, okay, cool, she's another young assassin, Same situation here. So I was like, oh, okay, cool, fine, whatever. And I mean, again, in the trailer, at the end, she's like, so, you are the Baba Yaga. Tell me, how do I know I'm ready for this role? And then Keanu Reeves appears and he's just like, it looks like you've already begun. Whatever.
Your Ana de Armas sounds like my Lee Jung Jae.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry to every ethnicity. Okay. But I will say this. So here's my thing. The reason the John Wick movies are so special is obviously Keanu is like, he's a special guy, but also the action was very unique and it kind of really doubled down on that towards the end. John Wick 4 may be one of the best action movies I've ever seen. Now, they're making this movie with not Keanu Reeves as the principal character. Okay, it's got Ana de Armas, who people love. But, like, what are they adding to this? I couldn't tell anything from the trailer. Did you guys see the trailer?
No.
Okay,
No,
you didn't
because
see
I
it.
haven't
I'll take
seen.
your word for
I haven't seen any of the John Wick.
Yeah, it didn't.
was like,
It didn't.
Not in
It didn't
this.
like spark like. Oh, okay. It wasn't. It didn't have that frenetic pace that it did yet. Maybe obviously it'll be different in the film, but I don't know. There has to be something really unique about the action, or for it to kind of warrant
That's
its
the thing,
stay
though.
a little
I feel
bit.
like with John Wick,
Yeah.
it's a confluence of factors that you can't very easily replicate. It is because of the lead actor. It is because of the way the action is choreographed.
Mm-hmm.
The world building and the universe that they've created, it's interesting.
Yeah.
But it's not the most unique by a long shot. Like if you
It's
didn't-
colourful.
It's colorful, sure.
Yeah.
But if they didn't execute it with such finesse, it could very easily be
Another
pretty
schlocky kind of
ignorable, like a B movie.
Yeah, you're right.
But they pulled it off amazingly, and that's not easy to do every time.
No, I agree, and I just want to know what the calling card of this film is. If they're just kind of like using it as a cash grab for people who want to see Keanu back as John Wick again, then they have my money, frankly.
yeah, I was
but
gonna say, that seemed like a pretty safe bet.
yeah. But it's okay. So that's where we're at with the Ballerina trailer. Let's move on. The Thunderbolts, new Marvel movie.
What was that song?
They had a song. You're right.
Pixies, no?
Yeah, it was Where Is My Mind?
Yeah.
Not for the first time being used in a trailer or...
Yeah.
Not even close.
Yeah. It was used... They had a version of it in that awful Zack Snyder film. Can you guess which one I'm talking
Yeah.
about? They're all of
we-
them.
Is it the steampunky one?
Yeah, Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch.
Yeah.
Right.
So they did a version of that.
Yeah.
But it's back again, this film. This movie seems to be collecting all of the dregs of the Marvel Universe.
The rejects.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
rejects.
Which-
And the misfits, the
That's-
Suicide
we-
Squad.
Yeah.
We knew that.
Yeah,
we knew that
ostensibly
was the
here.
case.
And banding them together.
Yeah.
Here, Amanda Waller is replaced by Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character, the Contessa.
Yeah.
Valentina Allegra
stop.
de Fontaine.
Yep.
Yeah, well done, Jishnu. Nice. There's a trailer. There are returning characters like Red Guardian, played by David Harbour, and Florence Pugh's character, Ghost, Hannah John Kamen from Ant-Man and the Wasp. And also there is Sebastian Stan, who's back. And now they've added a new character, who's Sentry, famous in the Marvel comics, making his debut here in the film. Right. What do we think of the trailer?
Well enough. I mean, like, my fucks levels are already really
Yeah.
fucking low.
Yeah?
But yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I've been
sure.
burnt enough times now. Like, come on. But that said, it seems to be some sort of course correction back to the Winter Soldier era, which I love so much, and it makes sense for that, considering the context that these particular dregs of the universe are, banded together as this kind of espionage, bait and switch, whatever the hell it is. I don't know. Cautiously optimistic, like
Yeah.
I have been for most Marvel things. 'Cause I'm like, your track record isn't great, but you have like had some great wins. So I mean, I don't know. Like I'm just at
Do you
this
feel
point,
do you feel we've seen this kind of
just
movie
tired.
before already?
Of course.
Yes,
enough number of times for it to enough. No, I mean
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
that the
I don't know.
regurgitation of like these styles are present. Obviously,
Yeah.
we still go and watch Godzilla movies, but like,
Yeah.
is this one like kind of played out? I mean, I still think there's room to do something original.
I feel like that might. I also think there's room to do something original. I think the trailer doesn't do this movie any favors.
yeah,
It's
very
It's
hum-ho.
just. It's very wishy-washy.
fucking long, man.
Yeah, it was a long trailer. It's
and
like
it's called the teaser, and
Yeah.
it's like almost 3 minutes or something. It's crazy.
it's a teaser, and it has this weird asterisk at the end of the word
Yeah.
Thunderbolts,
Yeah,
which
okay.
they haven't
They're really-
explained.
they're really
They said
playing
it
into
makes sense at
this
the end of the
and-
movie.
Sure.
Yeah, not even when you actually see the movie.
Oh, really?
I believe that's what I read. Yeah. At the end of the movie, you're like, oh.
At the end of the
that's
movie,
why.
I won't care about the asterisk potentially. I don't know. Let's see. I don't know.
Let me ask you this? Apart from just the trailer alone, but like all the stuff that is in the works right now, leading up to the next couple of Avengers movies,
Yeah.
are we hoping when we leave a movie theater from a Marvel movie to be excited about the world building and the whole thing pressing forward as a whole, or are we at this point only looking to like be satisfied with what we got right here, right now, regardless of its implications in the bigger world?
No,
Depends on who you're asking.
yeah, it depends on
I'm
who you
asking
ask.
y'all.
I really want
Us,
the
yeah.
former for sure. Like I want that also. I mean, obviously, I want the movies to be good
Correct.
on their own.
Yeah.
And if they're good on their own, they'll do that first thing automatically. Only Loki has made me feel has gotten me excited for the multiverse and this whole saga.
Yeah.
That's literally the only piece of like
Anything.
content that they have come out
Yeah.
with, movie or film,
Yeah.
movie or TV, that has made it like, oh, that is really interesting.
Yeah.
That does have some stakes and all of that.
Right.
Right now, it
Because
doesn't.
works by itself, yeah.
Yeah, Deadpool Wolverine didn't do it.
I feel like that has to be the primary goal, and unfortunately, if you ask the Marvel people, they are focused on the world building first, I think, and that's where we run into issues.
So you're saying that they're trying to make stuff that will satisfy the larger world, even if it means this particular movie itself.
it's
is
Yeah,
not
but they're
strong?
not doing it
very
well.
Clear. They're not doing it well because
Yeah.
it's the only thing they're thinking of, I think, or at least it's the first thing they're thinking of.
Yeah, it's only because it's the tiniest or the slimmest of threads they can use to say, okay, now come for the Avengers movie because it has some meaning to the rest of the movies that we've done. We've already done it once
But what
before
meaning
successfully.
I mean, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
They'll
so-
figure out a way. But with this movie specifically, my concern is these characters are all good in supporting roles.
Yeah.
I
so
don't know
true.
how it's gonna
Yeah.
be with
No,
a bunch
okay,
of
so not
over-the-top,
all
Russian
characters.
accents in one movie.
Like
Yeah.
for instance, half this cast. Yeah, I think about half this cast was in the Black Widow movie, which is
yeah.
Uh,
horrific.
What, two of them only?
And
Who else?
Who's the
Nobody
mom?
else.
The mom else, right? What's her face? Rachel Weisz.
Yeah, but she's not in this movie.
Oh, she's not in this one.
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
she's
Well,
not.
whatever.
I don't think
Point
she
is,
is, yeah.
Like that movie was absolutely terrible.
And Falcon and the Winter
Falcon and
Soldier.
Winter Soldier also
not good.
not good.
Not good.
And
What else?
it has warranted
Ant-Man
us
and
to
the
get this. Yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Ghost, the most forgettable.
This movie
like,
almost
villain.
feels like it's being made because they have to honor a contract. They were like, yeah, we said we'll hire you for 4 films. Fuck, we've done 3. We need to do one movie. Just throw them all into
That's
the same
why
pot.
there's an asterisk. Because
Yeah.
if you look at the fine print, they say
We had to do this.
Terms and conditions.
Yeah. All right. Okay, I'm sad. I was not as I didn't think the trailer was as. I mean, I didn't mind it as much as you guys probably did, but I
didn't
think.
mind it as much as it didn't make me care.
Yeah, I didn't. I only like Winter Soldier from all of these people, and I like Florence Pugh, the actor. I don't like her character as much. Like it's
Yeah,
not
same.
giving me anything.
That accent she
Yeah,
does.
it's just so
Well,
much, man. Wasn't
yeah.
she in something else, by the way? She was in Hawkeye, right?
She's in
Yes.
Hawkeye, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
God. Okay, it's really gotten wild now.
Not bad in Hawkeye though, I'll say.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean-
because they use the character.
Oh, guys, I'm gonna say something. Hawkeye, good show.
Hawkeye was fun.
I had
It was
fun.
fun,
Yeah.
man. Fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's enough, Marvel.
That's enough, Marvel. Exactly.
It's like the Dark Stanley's ending quote. Enough, Marvel. Okay, fine. I was going to talk about a couple of biopics that we've had trailers for, but I don't know. Have you guys seen this yet?
Biographical pictures?
Yes, biographical.
Sign me up.
Biopics. Okay. So it's the first one is Better Man, which is the Robbie Williams biopic. Interesting because you asked me this question
Yeah,
just
this
before we
is
started rolling.
crazy.
I say, oh, who's playing Robbie Williams? He's still quite young. Yes, he is, and he's not being played by any real actor. He's being played by a CGI ape.
Absolutely nuts.
Yeah, and it's quite
Absolutely
quite
nuts.
cool. It's the director who made Rocketman, which is a biopic on Elton John that I actually didn't find too offensive, and I thought it was quite good.
Same.
I think
I
a lot of
I
it
appreciate that Rocketman was trying to
do something
do
different.
something different, and it's not just like a visual history book.
Yeah, at that, and also, it was also led by an excellent performance. Right?
Yeah.
Taron Egerton was really, really good. He's still a really great actor. Maybe a little slept on, I think. But yeah, so this director is obviously pushing the biopic thing a little forward, and I think it's time. We've already we've discussed biopics before and how they're in dire need of some updates.
Yeah.
Ape as Robbie Williams.
I mean, it's an update.
It's
You can't
certainly an
deny it's
update. Yeah, it's
So
certainly an
it's-
update.
So, I mean, like I know his music pretty well. Is this basically
Same.
based on like what Me and My Monkey or something?
Yeah.
Like, is that the
yeah,
the
for sure.
vibe?
There's no explanation of that in the trailer.
He says, I've always felt like a primitive species, is what he says.
I might have missed that.
Yeah. So, and it's kind of cool. Mr. Bojangles,
Yeah,
he
yeah,
is
yeah.
that. And like, I just think that maybe there's something unique to say here. The second movie trailer that I was going to bring up also does something quite different with the format. Okay, it's called Piece by Piece. It's the Pharrell Williams biopic. And he went to Lego and said, I don't want to do a biopic, right? Like a live action one. Can we do it with Lego?
Yeah.
Because I've always loved Lego. And they were just like, we need a new Lego movie. We'll do it. And so his movie is completely in Lego. Like, it's like the Lego movie, but it's Pharrell Williams.
All right.
And there's no line that says, I've always thought of myself
As
as
a,
a Lego.
as a Lego.
But
So the movie's called Piece by Piece.
Yeah, and the first trailer they put out was basically relating this story.
Yes, it was telling exactly the story as I did, right? So, the funny thing is that I wonder how much of the Lego-ness, like, Lego has its own philosophies about life, and Pharrell must as well. I want to see if they bring that together, or this is just the medium now to tell stories. But the point is that these formats are changing rapidly. It's cool. I quite like
for
it.
it. I'm for
Yeah. I think it needed an update. So.
How old is the guy? I'm surprised. Like,
Pharrell, he doesn't age, man.
seriously,
He's like a vampire,
I
dude.
was gonna ask, is he old enough to earn a biopic? Maybe he
of
is.
course
Like,
he's- yeah.
Dude, he
His
definitely
career's
has
been
earned it.
legendary,
Yeah,
no? Oh, I know he's got a
he's
legendary
basically
career. I just didn't think he
produced
was that
every
old,
like major hit from the
Absolutely.
year 2000
No,
to
no,
now.
no argument
But no,
with
but the
that.
other
It's
thing is
no,
like,
Pharrell is
he's probably
51.
60. Oh, okay.
Robbie Williams, over or under?
over 50.
51? Yeah, he's over 50.
He looks it also.
I saw him live in Dubai
Yeah.
when he was 40, I guess.
He does looks it. He's 50
No,
though.
less than.
Exact 50.
Yeah.
Damn. He's
Okay, no, then he was in.
That's
Damn,
a
I
lot of
saw when he
drugs.
was in his 30s.
He's done a lot of
God.
drugs.
Yeah,
Wait, how old would that mean? How old was he in 2006? I saw him on
30 something, 20 years younger.
Oh my God. I saw when he was 30 years old?
Yeah. You saw him when he was younger than
he
you
was
are
30.
right
Oh
now.
my God. That is. I'm taking all these specs. That is insane.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
32.
That is so
There you go.
crazy. Anyway, okay. Hey, biopics.
So I'd seen he had a Netflix series also, didn't he?
Who, Pharrell?
No, Robbie Williams. I think he had some sort of Netflix. Maybe it was just a documentary. But he
Maybe.
had a thing like
Maybe a
not long-
traditional
a straightforward
yeah.
thing, which I'm not sure if I even finished. I mean, it was decent. It was about a year or two ago, and that's why I'm just surprised that this is happening, because I feel like, didn't I just see his story? And I know I did. But then again, maybe it wasn't like.
Was it a Take That documentary?
Yeah, it probably was something like a Take That.
Because I feel like
He's had a very colorful
I don't know if
life
it was
again.
a Take That documentary, but then again, everything that has to do with Robbie Williams usually has Take That mentioned in it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, their reunion album was awesome. I just want to say it was really good. They had that song called "The Flood," except they pronounced it "The Flood."
The Flood.
It was so good because it's like the no one understood. We were holding back the flood. It was too good. I loved it. It's such a good song. Such a good song.
An interesting thing about both these movies,
Yeah.
they're both playing themselves. They're voice acting.
Yeah, they
This
are
is not
voice
real
acting.
acting.
Oh,
But
I mean that.
but they are performing
Go
the
on.
voice of
Go on.
their own characters.
Yes, it is one way to circumvent the casting, which
Yeah.
usually is kind of divisive sometimes in these things. So yeah, interesting. I like
Props
it.
for trying something new. Cool.
Yeah. Very good. Okay, cool. That's all the news. It's time to get to the review section. And we have a ton of movies and television to go through. So let's
Here's a
just
thought.
get it started.
Technically, shouldn't a review be the second viewing?
A review.
No, because
A review is a different word.
No, I'm going to stand by this. Think it
Yeah.
through. It
No,
makes
no, the
sense.
word
I
is a
think
different
We
word.
need a new word for reviewing things, and the word review should be a second screening.
You guys got to watch the first time. You got to watch things the first time at least.
Yeah.
Also,
Stew on
right?
it.
All right.
I'm here to listen to your views.
Okay. Maybe I'll say it twice. All right. Let's begin. Lots of stuff happened in the month of September. Beginning with, which ones of these have you seen, by the way? Vishnu?
Wolves.
Let's go with that. Let's start with Wolves.
Explain.
Okay. Wolves.
Why is it Wolves?
Apple TV.
Yeah, I still don't know.
No,
and
no.
it's very annoying.
What? No, they explain it.
Because it's two
And not the
lone
Weasel.
wolves.
Yes, it's two lone wolves, and they don't want to work with each other. That's the
Of
whole point of
course.
it. Trust me, the only really grating thing in this movie is that
This is Brad Pitt
title
and George
logo.
Clooney.
Yes, is the title logo and the opening credits. The way that they do it on screen really annoyed the hell out of me. But everything else
What do
was
they do?
fine.
Please explain.
Nothing. It's just really oddly placed. Okay.
What?
We're talking about.
I'll tell you what's
Wolves.
oddly placed. The F. It should be a VE, and that was
too,
very annoying.
That too.
Let me set context since I haven't seen
Go on.
much of these. Wolves on Apple TV, directed by John Watts,
Yes.
Yeah.
starring Brad Pitt and
Did
George
he write
Clooney.
also? No.
Yes, written also
Written
by.
as
Written
Yeah.
also by him, yes. Its plot follows two professional fixers who are forced to work together on a job despite their preference to operate as lone wolves.
Indeed.
Now
Case
tell me
Ani
something.
Point.
I had a question.
Yeah.
Does the film work without the two leads?
Good question.
Great question.
Before we even get into that, the premise of the film also, like when it starts, there's a politician who has had like a fling with this young, bachelor, this boy, and because of an accident, and he's like partly on drugs, he crashes into this bar cart and he dies, allegedly, and so she calls in a fixer, George Clooney, to come in and fix the problem. But the hotel has been placing cameras in every room because it's a new hotel and they don't want any ruckus from this. So they have sent in their own fixer, which is Brad Pitt. And that's where they come to head with each other. So
Meet cute.
yeah, that's a meet cute. Now, the interesting thing about this is that they say that this is all like a one-person job only. And each time they kind of keep, butting heads. It's funny, it's cute, it's silly. And thus, two people are not allowed to work with each other. That's the first time they establish it. And the second time they establish it is later on in the film when they realize that there is a gangster who hires these fixers individually. And if they ever met, then they would have to be eradicated. So that's like the other part of this title. Just wanted to establish that.
I see.
Okay.
Translation. Paper thin plot. It is
explain
just about the two actors on stage.
What's the tone here? Is it
It's very
is it
light.
light?
It's
very,
super
very
light action comedy.
Absolute lean
Right.
back time pass viewing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Because that's not clear from the premise.
right. So,
Yeah.
so
You can
that's
play
the thing.
that
But you saw the trailer.
You could, so the
Yes.
here's the
Yeah.
thing. Apple TV has, in my opinion, like the best track record of all the streamers for all their in-house productions.
Yeah, they don't make that much also.
Just looking.
Oh yeah, by the way,
fucking phenomenal.
this movie
Like,
looks
so fucking
This
good.
is
Anyway,
true of
but here's
Apple
the thing.
TV stuff in general.
Absolutely. I don't know what
What's
they do.
amazing is
They shoot them on
amount-
iPhones.
iPhones, yeah.
Looks mad. I don't know. But look, the point is, this movie, to answer your earlier question, is just yes. Let's get Pitt and Clooney in a room together to basically play an SNL extended sketch of their Ocean's 11 characters.
Yeah.
Where they just do the most incredible. It's a tight 90 minutes, so it's that like quick and breezy.
no. It's at 90.
It's hour
It's a
40
little-
max,
yeah,
but
it's
like
lower.
basically it's just the two of them doing their best impressions of themselves
Yeah.
from Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
And the best parts of the movie are just watching each of them react to each other. It's like a masterclass in like facial reaction to like
Yeah. Brad Pitt doing
I
a
don't know,
lot of
dude.
facial reacting in this
it's
movie.
just a whole lot of like bickering between
Yeah.
two old men. Like one of the funniest scenes is like one of several moments where the two of them are sitting at a table and they're like hashing out the plot thus far. They're like figuring out what the hell is going to happen. La la la. Something. They pull out a pager. They look at it. One of them goes like a quizzical look of like,
Yeah.
oh my god, this is the big one. He hands to the other guy. He's like, oh my god, I don't get it. And they pull out their reading glasses because they couldn't read.
Because they
'cause
can't
they're-
see.
And,
I
like
don't-
that's the movie in a nutshell.
Yeah.
It's not the most actiony action movie. Like it
Yeah,
has
there's
some
not-
it has some stunts, but I mean
Yeah.
like it's not like huge. It's literally just an excuse to put the two of them together.
Hmm.
Sit back, watch these two absurdly beautiful men just being really funny
Yeah.
and like being self-aware enough of exactly all the tropes that they've always been really good
Mm-hmm.
at, and it just leans into that. I was hoping for a little bit more from John Watts of like something original, but
Why
he just,
though?
just because like
Because
of the three movies,
Spider-Man?
because 3 movies I've seen of his, 2 out of the 3 are really, really good. But then again, because it's Marvel, he probably had a whole lot of help from other people that were very talented. So like, from
And
his
he
mind,
also has Spider-Man as his character. But you know, he has
Absolutely,
George
but from-
Clooney and Brad Pitt in this. So
exactly.
It's kind
So
of the
from
same.
his mind, I was hoping for like something more in the actual story, but the story is absolutely wafer thin. But
It's
that's
not, you know, it's not
but
a
that's the
bad
point.
movie. It's not a bad movie by any
Not
stretch.
a bad movie, but
And
it's nothing that has legs to it. Like
It's got a little bit of, you know, self-reflection. It's almost like, you know, there's some moments where, so there's a moment in the story where the guy who was allegedly dead kind of wakes up and they kind of talk about how they've just missed each other in their whole lives, you know, like, and they're like, oh, you did this? Oh, I did this job. Oh, you did this? It's like, oh, I can't take this job. It was kind of also, I mean, I don't know if it's just me, but it's a little like self-referencing their own careers, how they've had very similar
Yeah.
kind of white
Yes.
male
Yeah, they're
dudes,
both,
yeah.
you know, in these kind of big pieces. So it was a little bit about that, a little bit about
it's an SNL
just
sketch.
having
It's
a
just
good time.
It's a really long SNL,
Yeah.
which I'm for. I mean, like I was getting a lot of vibes reminiscent of the Pop-Tart movie that Seinfeld made, which I really liked.
Or date night.
Yeah, just like
Like, you really liked?
I did really like it, just because like
We
I know
discussed that before.
We have proof of it.
and it was just that like I like these movies because there just aren't enough where it's just like here's a silly idea and let's just roll with it and do it as best we can. Like
Yeah,
and it
and you're
doesn't
right.
have like you know,
It's written and directed by the same guy. He
Yeah.
probably had it lying in his cupboard saying, hey, here's an idea.
Yeah.
And you know, I saw, did you see Clooney on Kimmel? It was cool. It was
Yeah.
really nice. Where he was
Yeah.
just, he was so charming and so
As he
awesome.
always is.
And like, you know, sometimes I expect George Clooney to be, you know, I'm waiting for the day where he'll be out of time, you know, like
Yeah.
just kind of like not really with it, become an uncle. But he was so sharp and so cool. And he said, yeah, you know, like when I was offered this thing, the only way we were going to do it is if both of us did it.
Yeah.
And so I tricked John Watts into making a big deal about sending it to Brad Pitt and saying that he was not going to say no, but already he had said yes. So it was really cute. Even the setup for this was just like, hey, how can I hang out with my friend and get paid for it? So,
Exactly.
So that's
And
basically
I'm all for that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
cool. They're great actors.
just
and
because like at least
nice,
as far
yeah.
as the stuff that we talk about on this show, like every single thing for the most part is like some giant franchise that
Yeah,
has like
that's
a
true.
humongous amount of corporate input into it. And this obviously, I mean, it does, but it's also like the Seinfeld thing. It's just like a dude being like, let me call my comedian friends and let's just like dick around on one goofy ass premise that we're all in on.
That's Adam Sandler's whole career.
Exactly. Like, I just want more of that. You know, like
Is it George Clooney's career at this point? Because he
It's
did
getting
Ticket
there.
to
Ticket to
Ride.
Ride.
Right.
Same
Ticket
thing.
to
Not
Paradise.
Ticket to Paradise.
Sorry, Ticket to Paradise.
Yes.
yeah, which was
Hang out with Julia Roberts.
Hang
Yeah.
out with Julia Roberts. Then he did the Night Sky or the October Sky, something like what it's called. I can't
Vanilla.
remember.
I don't know. Whatever.
Not Vanilla. No, I liked it. It was not very good, but I liked it. It was
Yeah.
cool.
Just being inundated with like too much of like one type of
Right.
corporate thing. I was like, this is I'm for this. Even though, like I said, I'm gonna forget it in a month.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
like,
but it reminded me how much I like George Clooney, man.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I don't see him as
Yeah.
often. I think he mentioned that he was thinking of retiring like post pandemic or like during the pandemic. He was like, yeah, I think I'm done. Then he did like these.
yeah, he married a
films.
lawyer. He married up.
Yeah.
He's like, now my parents will think
I'm fine.
respectable.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sorted.
he hasn't done a lot.
Yeah, so he just-
Midnight Sky was 2020.
Midnight
Ticket
Sky.
to Paradise 2022.
He did.
And Wolves.
He's
now.
definitely having a
There's a couple
laugh
of
because he
cameos and
agreed to
voice
be in
acting
because
jobs.
he agreed to be
yeah?
in
What?
frickin' Justice League.
He's in.
Oh right, he's in
If.
Justice. No, in the Flash.
Sorry, the Flash.
He's
My
in the
bad.
Flash.
Cameo.
Yeah, but like that's how much of a laugh he's having. He's like,
Yeah.
sure.
Like, and he said he would never reprise that role. Anyway,
He did a
Hilarious.
voice cameo, I think, in If from the imagination of John Krasinski,
oh,
and that's about it.
From
Wolves.
the bedroom of John Krasinski.
Look, he married a
From
lawyer.
the vocal booth of John
He married a
Krasinski.
lawyer. He had kids late in life, and now he's like, okay,
He has
I guess.
kids?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so now he's like, all right, fine. I have to like pull my weight because my wife is making me look bad and I have to be a responsible parent and show my kids that like, hey, I'm putting some money aside for you and I'm not blowing it. Because he's spending all his money on pranking people and
Yeah,
like
that's
living in
true.
mansions, right? So he's like,
Right.
I'll do 5 seconds of The Flash. I'll make $1 million and then I'll put away for college fund. It's
Yeah,
like,
put
that's
in-
where his...
I mean,
Put
he's
in
got his
mutual
coffee
funds.
company and
Yeah.
his
What is it called again? No, based on your game. or something.
George Coffee? I don't know.
the coffee. I didn't ask you guys about.
Okay. Oh,
I
we
haven't
haven't
even-
we haven't
Yeah.
done coffee yet.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Sure. What else
Let
we
us
got?
move on to my favorite movie of the year. You guys, I think, both missed
Oh,
this.
yeah.
Yes.
Romulus.
Alien Romulus from
This is
20th
number
Century
6
Studios.
or 7?
This is, I mean, if you're not counting the AVP movies, which is Alien versus Predator, this would be the 5th movie. No, sorry,
Oh.
the 6th, 7th, 8th movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
with AVP, it goes into like 10, 12.
yeah, but they're not canon, so it doesn't matter.
And this is set in between the first two.
In between Alien 1 and Alien 2, yes, you're right.
So,
In
what, set
between
in like
Alien
the
and Aliens, you mean?
Alien and Aliens, yes.
said what, like the 80s, it said? I
So
guess?
they explain where the S comes
79.
from.
Not
From the more
really.
aliens.
So
It doesn't
okay,
really
so,
need to
so
be
this
explained.
movie is not directed by Ridley Scott, though he has a huge hand in it. And I was a little disappointed when they announced it because I really wanted to finish off the trilogy, which was Prometheus, Alien Covenant, and then the Fassbender trilogy, which is amazing. It's so good. A lot of people don't
I've
like
seen the
it.
previous two, so this is not...
The previous what?
I've seen Prometheus
you've seen
and Covenant.
right?
Yeah.
So those are. It's like a
Those are
prequel
prequels.
trilogy.
Those are, that's a prequel trilogy,
Absolutely.
and
They
I wanted
haven't,
them to
finished.
finish it, but they're
So you're
not
saying
going to
this is
finish
just
it.
like a
I
random...
think
this
that
is
people
set-
just lost interest.
Oh man, I
And
loved
by
it. It
people,
was
I
so
mean
good.
Ridley Scott.
I
It's
think
like, I
people,
could do
you know,
Napoleon instead.
because the difference was that Prometheus and Alien Covenant were both like science fiction movies. They were just like, here's about engineers created man created
Robot. Android, whatever.
androids, and the androids created the alien, which is so good.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff over there. And then people just wanted to see aliens kill people.
Yeah.
So fair enough. I did not know I needed
Why
that
is Michael
until this movie.
Fassbender acting weird?
Yeah.
Have something burst out of a chest.
Yeah. So they delivered.
Uh-huh.
Fede Alvarez, who wrote and directed this, he's done like some other horror films like Don't Breathe and stuff like that. And those have done really well. So Ridley Scott, you know how candid he's been in the interview. So like, what made you pick Fede Alvarez? He's like, he's a really good director. I saw his movies. They're really good. He's like, that's it. I was like, fair enough. So he absolutely knocks it out of the park with this movie. I saw it twice in IMAX. It visually is
You
so
reviewed
stunning.
it.
It is so stunning. Yeah, I did review it. I saw it for the second time because it was just so visually stunning. So because it's set right after Alien, the first film, which is in 1979, so it's got all this retro space tech,
Nice.
which is like all this LCD, dot matrix displays and all that stuff. Picks up kind of like 50 years on from there. The most amazing thing about this movie is that it actually does a lot of
Picks
world
up
building.
50 years on from there?
Yeah, around like 20.
When was
20.
Aliens then set?
Aliens is set like she sleeps. She's in cryo sleep for like 100 years or like less than that, something
right.
like that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's how all the movies end.
I haven't
right?
seen Aliens in ages.
One of the best, one of the better James Cameron films. He's ever done. Anyway, so this movie picks up with this character played by Kaylee Spaney, who's in Civil War and a bunch of other things. I think she's in Priscilla as well. So she is just like a person who lives on this mining colony, and which is really toxic, and her parents have died, and the only thing that her dad left her is this android whose name is Andy. ND, okay, based on that. And he is got some motor function issues, so he's kind of like basically like just spazzing out like every second, and like he can't like really function. But she loves him because he's grown up with him. He's her brother. When her friends kind of say that there's this floating spaceship that has just come into view, we should use that to get the fuck out of this colony, which is never going to let us go, because when she tries to appeal for her leave, they just add like another 12 years to her time there. So she gets on board and she's like, okay, cool, I'll do it. And they're like, we need Andy to operate the mothership over there. So that's why we need him. So they go up to this thing and they see that it's divided into two halves. This huge space station, it's completely abandoned, and it has the cryosleep chambers, which will allow them to get out of here into another planet that is habitable. And it's divided into two halves, Romulus and Remus. It's just set on Romulus. I don't know if they'll ever do a Remus movie. They can't. But so they go on to the Romulus and they find out that the alien from the first Alien was recovered, and they let it breed, and they have a ton of face huggers in there. That's basically it.
Right.
Straight up fucking alien movie.
Goes right into body horror.
Man, it's so
Do
good.
you call that body horror?
Yeah, it is
Horror
body.
horror.
Yeah, it is body horror. There's a lot of like, yeah, it is
Chest bursting.
Yeah, the chest bursting in this movie is impeccable. It's so good. It is so good. It's shot insanely well, and the good thing about this movie is that he's introduced new ideas to the. So one of the things is like aliens have, they have acid for blood. So they take in consideration that when on a space station, if you shoot an alien, he's gonna bleed. They are gonna bleed,
acid.
and it's gonna cut through, and we're on the bottommost floor. So how do we deal with that? All of these mechanics are now suddenly in play. And man, it has one of the most, I don't even want to say anything. The last 20 minutes of this movie are absolutely ridiculous. I went with our friends. I went to Adil and Malika. And like, I also went just to watch their faces for the last 20 minutes, because some outrageous shit happens.
Very good.
All based on this whole birth cycle, chest bursting, alien out of egg, all that shit.
Awesome.
Fucking absolute freak show.
It sounds like for the first time I'm hearing an alien movie being made by like a fan.
It is very.
You're hitting like all the sweet spots of like only a fan.
It is a
would,
very. There's so
as
many
opposed to
homages.
continuing what Ridley started. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
furthering the story. This is a fan being like, no, give me more of the best parts.
Dude,
They did. I mean, I think it's been everyone just taking it in whatever direction they want, because they had Alien, and then James Cameron
Made an
said,
action movie.
Yeah, of
the
course.
first one was a horror movie.
He put a dollar sign through the S and said, "Let me make Aliens." And then David Fincher came in and did some random shit.
You know what? I don't mind it.
I mean, it's
I
interesting.
don't mind it.
Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah, but he was trying his hand, and
Yeah,
then
he's disowned the
Ridley
movie.
came back in and went like, "Let me make a bunch of very different movies."
Yeah, like I just mean like the way I just heard him explain it. It sounds like that's not how I would explain all the other movies I've seen thus far in the franchise, where
No,
it's
true.
like, hey, this movie is about like, yeah, you know that alien from Alien? Well, we're asking a completely different question about like humanity and like what
Right.
people would do and like
Yeah,
civilization. Because like it's complete apples and oranges between Alien and say Prometheus.
Yeah, 100%.
Like other than the name, then they're not really.
yeah, there's not even the true alien. The
Yeah,
xenomorph doesn't exist. The proto-alien exists.
Yeah,
the
so it's like
protomorph, whatever.
they're only the same because of like, copyright and IP, but like
Yeah.
it has nothing to do with each other.
This
Sounds like
it.
remember that Alien movie, but
Is
this
this,
is now like the new version.
It is the new version. Like you don't even.
Does it sound like
Yeah.
this is a Force Awakening? Of
Yeah,
It
that's
is.
what
It's
I
like
mean.
a softish,
exactly what I
softish
mean.
reboot. If you're a fan, you will absolutely love this movie. Like even more because you know the lore. I sat in the drive to the theater with Adil, and
They told me.
I told him the story in 20 minutes, and he's like, "Dude, okay, now I get it." So every character, every little kind of thing was explained. It was really like it. There's a lot of lore here also, so it is really, really nice. But if you don't know that, you go in clean. It was brilliant, man. Like the visually,
what's
the
the
movie
boy's
was
name again?
incredible. Fede Alvarez.
Freddy.
Fede. Yeah, and he's brought his whole team from South America. He was making
Nice.
a lot of like films there, and then he just brought his entire team, and it was incredible. Like
What's
it's
the
just really,
studio
really well
behind
done.
Alien?
20th century.
All of them.
Fox used to do it, and now it's Disney. Disney's Alien. It's really good though. Must watch. I mean, I hope it has the same impact as it did in the theater, but yeah, incredible stuff.
Sure.
And yeah, also they brought back. You know what? They brought back from the 80s Sigourney Weaver's Reebok Stompers. You know those big shoes. They bring them back in this. It's fucking fashion as fuck.
Nice.
It's so good. All right, let's move on to a show that I really didn't want to review because I hate shitting on my own countrymen. But it's time to review Amazon Prime's Call Me Bae.
Here we go.
A show that has gotten so much promotion. Obviously, we're in Bombay. Oh God, we gotta really do. So I'm gonna say it. I hate watch this show, top to bottom, in one day.
How did you? I mean,
because we had nothing to do that Saturday.
I have seen some shit, but even I was like, man, I can't do this in one
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Like, that was.
Yeah,
It's a quick watch, I will say.
What is it?
Yeah,
it's quick and it hurts.
especially if you're not paying a lot of attention.
Yeah. We didn't. We were like doing stuff while it was going on. Okay, so premise, Dinkar, let's hear it.
Downsized from heiress to hustler, Bae discovers her most valuable assets aren't her diamonds but her street smart style. Broke, but refusing to be broken. She navigates the newsrooms of Mumbai and her better self while breaking news.
Right, none of that is true. Oh God.
I think one of you said this, and I think you put it very well. This was basically, it looked like an extended ad film.
It did.
It just
really
looked
did.
like but I saw your comment before I'd seen it. You'd said, man, the lighting in this sucks. And I was like, that's a very specific comment.
Yeah.
You could not be more true. Like,
This
the whole
show
thing just
doesn't
felt
look
like I was
good.
watching a YouTube ad that wouldn't stop. It was just...
Okay, so I just want to make a point here. Okay, so the who's the writer of the show? Ishita
Moitra.
right? So she wrote Rocky and Rani,
Yeah.
right? And now I wasn't going to watch. I hadn't seen the movie, but my girlfriend was like, "This is a really good movie. It's actually really like prescient and it's good and it's needed. Watch it." So I watched it. And it was fine. It's not a bad movie. And it's got some like pretty solid themes in there. And so when I heard that she had written this, I was like, I told her, I was like, let's sit and watch this because it might be like relevant and good and socially conscious, meets Emily in Paris. So let's do it. Oh my God. This is such a
It
misfire.
did try to do those things. I would
Yeah,
say.
but it was such a misfire though.
10 minutes into it, it's...
My gosh.
You know exactly what's coming, and
So what are the problems with this show?
it still hurts.
I think there's primarily one problem. It's attempting a style of humor that I don't think it pulls off.
Yeah.
I don't think it
And that's pretty
understands
much it.
that satire, which is
Yeah.
present in shows that it's referencing, like shows like Schitt's Creek, which I've heard a lot about, or in Emily in Paris. I think there's a level of like awareness, to this thing that this feels like. I don't think even the writers of this show have not actually experienced to have this kind of knowledge of like it didn't feel
I
very
think it
knowledgeable
does-
on that.
Yeah, but it does try and do the satire. I feel like the issue is it keeps changing lanes. Sometimes it's doing the satire thing. Sometimes it's saying we're playing this absolutely straight.
Sometimes
And-
then it suddenly becomes like a conspiracy mystery kind of thing in the
it's
middle of the
just-
show.
It's tonally a bit. I like you. They're not clear on where it's going. I think in the way
Yeah.
they lay it out, and
Yeah.
I think that's one problem. And also, secondly, the jokes are
They're not good.
overwritten. I feel
Yeah,
like
not good.
there's potential there for humor, and I feel like most of the acting actually across the board I thought was pretty good.
Actually, you know what?
Like her friends were good. Veerdas was
Yeah.
decent. She was fine.
I don't know. I didn't find, okay,
It-
maybe it's not supposed to be a subtle take on any of these things, and fair enough. Then some of these like these exaggerated kind of tropes of Veerdas, who I thought was fine in the show, but really like it was very
Just out of
one note.
place.
Yeah, it was very one note, and it was very one dimensional because he actually has a backstory where his sister has come down from some university and she doesn't want to do his job, and there's a Lisa Mishra character who wants to marry this guy, but he's shown no redeeming qualities whatsoever. So I'm saying, why are these two people like? Why are we seeing this guy's backstory if you just want to make him like a comical villain? So I didn't get a lot of that. Like I didn't understand what was the purpose of adding those characters into this if you're not going to give us a more layered villain, like somebody who has more like, okay, cool, he's doing this, but he's made it to this point, because of these politicians and these businessmen, but he also has a good side. He started off as a good journalist. Maybe he, became a bad one because he had to keep saying yes to all these people. But none of that is showcased in this show. None of that. And I was just like, and then suddenly it'll be like a random joke, and then I'm just like, tonally, this is everywhere.
That's the word.
Yeah.
Tonally, I think
Yeah.
that's my main thing. The key thing is that it was a complete hodgepodge of ideas, and like you said, they kept changing lanes. Like they were just not sure of themselves until the plot was like most convenient to like, okay, let's play it this way because we've reached this point in the plot. So to begin with, like you said, with the Emily in Paris thing, you're looking at the like a coming of age thing, right? Where like this girl goes from riches to rags, basically.
Yeah.
And you're like, what are you made of? Are you just the money that is in your wallet, or are you like a stronger person? So cool. Now, so that question is, how will Bae? Sounds so dumb to just say, but
Bella.
how will Bae
whatever.
get through life without mom's wallet or dad's wallet? And that's fair enough. I mean, like, cool. The first episode is basically all about that. Enter the universe of her friends in Bombay, and like you said, I think the acting from the majority of the cast was actually pretty good, especially like her two close friends that she lives with.
Pretty good.
Were pretty solid. I was actually quite impressed with one of them. And fair enough, cool. So this is the vibe we're going with. There was something just so plasticky about the world that they were living in, down from like the hostel they were staying in to the house that they eventually lived at. And then when she gets a job at the news agency, enter Veerdas and whatnot. And then we have this absurd, like, now there's like, not murder mystery, what is it? Like a blackmailing conspiracy, whatever the hell.
Like a Me Too thing.
Yeah. Me Too thing.
Yeah.
Now, the minute that gets thrown in by the end of episode 2 or 3, we can now tell, okay, clearly this has to be the main driving point of the show, right? But the thing is, we're starting off with being invested in Ananya Pandey as like the richest to rags. We're rooting for her, like, come on, you're better than this. You can build yourself up from some zero. Next thing you know, now she's somehow stumbled into being like the national leader of this cause.
Yeah, she's the Nancy Drew.
Yeah, she's the Nancy Drew of the thing.
Faye D'Souza.
And like everything about it is just like complete 180 of each other. Enter Veerdas again, who's a perfectly fine actor for the role, but then he's bringing in this like gravitas of like, I'm the bully at the office place and I'm like vaguely like a misogynist or whatever. And then by the end of it, there's this like live showdown on national TV, and like the stakes have now gotten like global and stuff. Like,
and she's
what?
also a kleptomaniac.
It was
I
just
forgot about that. But
Exactly.
there's so much to forget about.
There's a lot going on.
There's so much
going
happening,
on.
and like at one point, like two of the most poignant moments, which just will live with me for forever for all the wrong reasons. One is when she meets her mom in the third act.
Yeah.
Mom comes to Bombay, and mom's like, "Why are you calling me? You're asking for money, right?" And she's like, no, I'm not asking for money. I am like, she's
Need a
like,
favor, right? Or
some
something.
favor,
Yeah,
whatever the
yeah.
hell. And like to show her medal, to show that she's now like off the earth, and she is like, I am my own person. She orders a vada pav and some extra kanda on the side, and she's like, you're eating vada pav? What has become of you?
I know. It's just all of that is just
Like,
so dated.
like so
man.
on the nose
Yeah.
to the point of absolute cringe. But there's that, and then there's like one very, very supposed to be romantic and cute moment where Bae's ex, I guess, yeah,
The bodybuilder,
the bodybuilder, the
gym
guy, who's now
He was actually my favorite.
he's
character.
having feelings for like the roommate, and the roommate like looks at him and goes like, what's your star sign? And he lifts up his like abs, like lifts up his shirt to reveal his abs with like a Leo tattoo. He's like, I'm a Leo, and it's completely serious.
Yeah.
I was like, is this meant to be the payoff of like 9 episodes of Will They Won't They? Like, my
man.
abs say Leo, so I am your star sign match.
yeah, the problem is they play that serious, and I think it was written as a joke. So I don't know.
It's so strange. Anyway, listen. This has been renewed for season 2.
Maybe they could iron out these issues.
Maybe,
because
maybe.
these
They cancelled
characters
my
still have
Acolyte.
potential.
They cancelled my
It's not
Acolyte.
the same people.
They did Lee Jung Jae dirty, and they give this Bae a
different
second.
people.
I mean, Acolyte is its own kind of bad in many ways, but yeah, I mean, like, okay, why wasn't this a movie though?
I don't know.
I don't know. I just feel like cut the fat and make it a
feel like
movie.
it could work well as a show. I think I see what they're going
Yeah,
for.
I get it
It's
also.
got the potential to be a good comedy. It does not get close to that in this
So
season.
then, how does it have the potential then? Kar?
I feel like the setup
The
and
setup
the
is
characters
fine, yeah,
are
yeah.
good, and I feel like what they were going for was good. It's just it doesn't get there at all. Maybe they figure it out next season.
They figured it out only in like a couple of scenes. Like I think like like when she gets arrested and she's in the police station. That was like it's a good scene. I think
It's a good idea. It was a
it's
bad
good-
scene.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually thought that was alright. I thought everything
I was
that
already lost
once she
by
gets
that
to Bombay, I was like, and why is her family so mean to her? Why is her
Eh.
brother
He
such an
wants the money.
asshole?
Just remind me, where
Like,
does
she's-
where do we end? What is happening in season 2? What? So like she
No, her ex-husband comes back and proposes saying, because now you're cool, I want to be married to you again.
and she says,
And she also has the guy from the television network who's also
Yeah.
macking on her.
Yeah.
And so it's Emily in Paris. Anyway, listen.
Move on in life. Come on.
Yeah, let's move
let's all
on.
move on.
It was not my favorite. Moving on to another thing that was not my favorite. The Perfect Couple, which also actually incidentally dropped at around the same time. This is a show from Netflix based on a book of the same name by Ellen Hildebrand. And the showrunner was Jenna Lamia. This was supposed to be a kind of like a White Lotus type murder mystery set at, just before a wedding is supposed to take place in a large family in Nantucket who's extremely wealthy. And it stars also Ishan Khattar, our very own Ishan Khattar. And he plays, I swear to you, his name is Shooter Diwal.
What?
Shooter Diwal.
Shuttar.
Shooter.
How do you spell Diwal?
I think they mean Diol, but it's Diwal. Shooter Diwal. And he keeps going like, Shooter? And I'm like, why do you guys do us so dirty, man? Why do you do us so dirty?
Sounds like
You saw what they did to Dhanush and the Grey Man. I will never forgive them for that. I will never forgive them for that.
Grey Man.
Okay? I don't know why they do this to us, man.
Christ.
Just name him a normal name.
Shooter Diwal.
Shooter Diwal.
Dival.
Okay, so it's led by Nicole Kidman, who's in everything, and it features a big star cast, including Liev Schreiber, who I love, and there's a lot of sexual entanglement between different people in the family, and there's a lot of conspiracy, and it begins when the best friend of the bride is found dead in some water which is close to the house, and then so on. So forth. There's a big mystery. They keep getting interviewed by the cops. There's lots of layers to it. But in the end, it was so bad. Oh, God. It just did not amount to anything worthwhile towards the end. Like, it kept building and building and building. And, again, my girlfriend and I were watching this, and we're just like, man, who is it? Is it this? No, it's got to be this one. And you're kind of guessing. And then the end is just like, what the fuck? Like, it was so inane and so not worth the 8 episodes of build-up. It was just like, it was really poor. And like, it just didn't mean anything in the end. Like, acting is fine, but the show is just like, it wants to be this White Lotus type thing, which I've heard so much about. Just know you've spoken very highly of it.
Oh, I love White Lotus.
yeah.
Seen it both seasons twice.
And you know me, I love a murder mystery, and I love Nicole Kidman. So, what's not to...
Why is Nicole Kidman doing this?
Because she does everything.
That's true.
She's in this other movie, which I quite liked also, with Zac Efron. I can't remember what it was. A Family Affair, I think it's called, on Netflix.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, funny, silly. I mean, really silly.
She likes keeping busy.
Yeah, she's on, dude. She's just
Good
from,
for her. I mean, yeah, like
Sure.
when you bat that often, you're gonna have some duds.
Yeah.
And she has the most inscrutable accent on this show, like absolutely insane.
Which accent?
Precisely. I don't know.
right.
It's like American.
Nantucket.
It's like American, English, Australian, all mixed in one act. Anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter. Don't watch the show. I mean, if you want, watch it.
Red, white, and blue, but no flag in particular.
Again, it's supposed to be like a satire on like rich people, like not satirical, but like, oh, here's what rich people are like. They have problems too. But it was really not even about that. Okay.
That does sound like a poor White Lotus.
Yes. Jishnu, why don't you tell us about another Netflix problem?
Mr. McMahon. Let me where to start.
that when I made this list of things that we need to watch, I was like, please add whatever you guys have seen. I saw that and I burst out laughing because I was like,
Go, what else
this
am I
is the
gonna
most
do?
Jishnu thing ever. I love it so much. Tell us about Mr. McMahon. Who's Mr. McMahon?
Mr. McMahon is a documentary television miniseries that explores the influential yet controversial career of Vince McMahon.
Vince McMahon, the showrunner of the WWF
Yep.
Yeah.
and subsequently E?
Yes.
Right.
Erstwhile F.
Erstwhile
Now,
F. And he's not anymore, right? Like he's not the...
As of very recently, as of like in the last year or so. Yeah.
Yeah, he finally
Gave it up.
gave it up. Okay, cool. I
So-
obviously have seen him
He's
on...
an on-camera figure as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
He used to be a wrestler also?
Ish. Like he has wrestled.
Okay.
But I mean, like, I don't know if he would be on the trump cards.
So
You
he's
know
a
what I mean?
Pep Guardiola.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, okay,
Anyway,
cool.
so yeah, it's long. because there's a lot of story to tell. And it's just, I think the, cherry on top for something that I've been really tickled about for the last couple of years with wrestlers from the 80s and 90s who we grew up with, who are now at that age in their career where they're like, well, we just physically can't wrestle as much anymore, but like we are born entertainers, like probably the pinnacle of like live entertainers out there, like second to like a musical
Circus
Broadway
act.
guy or like a Cirque du Soleil person.
Yeah.
Like, because the amount of like mental fortitude you have to go through that kind of abuse is absurd, right? So these guys are now, for the last couple of years, starting their own YouTube channels, doing their own podcasts,
Nice.
and doing these like deep dives into proper live commentary of a bunch of matches, which are great because you're just getting this like straight matter-of-fact insight straight from the horse's mouth, and it's really fascinating. And I've been I think I've been a decently lukewarm fan of it. I've gotten more excited in the last couple of years because when I was a kid, I liked it about as much as anybody else, but I was never like crazy about it. I was like, it's what a 15-year-old would watch because that's what all my friends were doing. We would play Raw and SmackDown and play those video games, right? That was
video
it. But like,
games,
I didn't think much about it. But now that you have this like gold mine of like, here's like pull the curtain back on everything. We all had these like notions and inklings about like, it's probably like this, and I guess might be one way they would do it. This is basically a really tonally serious and very extensive deep dive into here's how it was done. The main premise is that it's being told from McMahon's like POV, and they paint it out, and he's come out to say this like after he saw the trailer. He was like, oh, I was told it was going to be portrayed in this angle because the interviews like ended.
Oh, he also didn't know.
Because the interviews, I
Fuck.
believe, like ended over a year ago.
Okay.
And then since then, he retired. Since then, his like 10th scandal came out upon his retirement about like allegations from way back when. And he's like, oh, all this while you've been like abusing people and like sexual harassment. Blah, blah, blah.
Oh gosh.
The gamut of
Right,
things
right,
that
right.
big
Bad
money.
scandals. Okay.
Yeah,
that's
bad
it.
scandals, but like run of the mill, sadly, of things that people of his billionaire caliber,
Right.
get accused of. It's just part and
Right,
parcel,
right.
right? Sad to say, but it's true. Point is, it's super long. It's like 10 hours and
10 hours?
tons of interviews.
Wait, how many is it? Is it like how
Yeah.
many episodes is it?
Hour long.
10 episodes.
Yeah.
This is more than
And-
The Last Dance or something.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Or maybe it's 8, but long.
Yeah.
Long enough, right?
Wow.
And it's basically a lot of like firsthand intel from people going way back to before the WWF existed, because it's starting from Mr. McMahon Senior. He's junior, right?
Oh.
So it's a family business through and through.
Wait, the WWE is a family business?
Yeah. Which is why, like, and
I
that's
had
got
no
it-
idea.
Exactly. So it's really fascinating, man. Like, I
Yeah.
think it's definitely one of the better ones I've seen, simply because it's a topic that I've never seen dug into this much.
Yeah.
It's really funny and really informative to watch The Undertaker and Mankind do a live commentary of their 45-minute Hell in a Cell, where he's talking about the fact that like he's on the top of a 30-foot cell and he's like whispering to the guy like, dude, just take the fall, let's go home, we can end the match right now, you're bleeding, let's go home. And the guy's like, no, throw me. He's like, what? He's like, throw me. He's like, and the guy's like, man, yeah, I just called an audible and I chucked him off the thing. And the commentator on the side, he didn't know that was part of the game plan. So when he narrowly misses the commentator, when he breaks through the table, crashing down from 30 feet in the air, now I know that commentator's look in his eyes is genuine fear. Because he's like, dude, I could have died. You threw a 300-foot
Yeah, there
man
must
at
be
me."
like insane number of stories like
Exactly.
this.
So
right?
that is fun to hear, right? That's so cool. Like, I didn't know that, because these entertainers are going
Yeah.
far beyond just entertainment. They're literally bleeding for us,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But then this gives you a whole lot of like the business acumen that goes into it. About like, I'll tell you one random example that's really fascinating was, I don't know if you remember like the WCW.
Yeah, I did.
So the WCW, if you don't know, was just like the offshoot. Basically, it was like
It was the second league.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know,
Tier two.
Burger King to McDonald's
Yeah.
kind of a thing, and like
By
tried-
the same people.
by different people.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was bankrolled.
There was
by
there and there was one with TNA also.
yeah, no,
remember?
I mean there's a whole
There's
bunch. There's a whole
yeah,
bunch.
yeah,
But WCW was one of the bigger ones, and it was bankrolled by Ted Turner, who was already a
Right.
millionaire, who at the time had far more money than Vince. So people like the big one being Hulk Hogan was like Mr. America, right? Like he was in the Rocky movies. He was like Captain America essentially in real life,
Yeah.
right? And so he was through and through a good guy, all the way through, everybody and your whole family could like him, and that's kind of what they were going off of. Like, wrestling wasn't dumb. Your kids could get behind, your grandparents could get behind, because we all liked the Hulkster. We all liked that vibe. It was in like deep of the Gulf War era and everything. So he was fighting against Sergeant Slaughter. He was fighting against the Sheik. All these things were like, the political narratives were in there, and all the while Hulk Hogan is like, America. So like, it was very manipulative that way, right? And it sold like mad. Cut to, he comes of a certain age. He's like, all right, I think I need to bow out. Vince is like, thanks, man, buddy. You and I were bros. Love you. He's like, we're bros. We're out. And then comes a point where Ted Turner starts WCW, and he tells his, like, he's the money. So he tells Eric Bischoff, who's the guy in charge of it, what Mr. McMahon is to WWF. He tells him, yo, make this work. Like, do whatever WWF at the time is not doing. So they went with a full black color look. They went with darkness. They went with a lot more edge. WWF, he was WWF. WWF was very colorful, very comic book.
Yeah, it was.
They literally had Doink the Clown, right?
Yeah.
So WCW was more adult. It was more racy. There was sex in there.
Serious wrestling.
And here's the
It was
brilliant
R-rated
part. It was basically R-rated. And the brilliant thing was, he has money.
It's the DC to Marvel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He buys Hulk Hogan back.
And he gets him back in the ring, huh?
Hulk Hogan goes to WCW. That's bad enough. But then they make him a heel. And then the whole world boos Hulk Hogan when he comes out. He's like, we are the New World Order.
Yeah.
I'm now dyeing my
Order.
beard black. I'm wearing black clothes. I'm fighting alongside Razor Ramon, who's now Scott Hall.
I love Razor Ramon.
And Kevin Nash, who was Diesel, is now Kevin Nash. They're like, we're throwing away our stupid names. We're going to go by our real names. And, it's like, and so like, there's just so much, like, exactly like you said with DC and Marvel, or like Mac and PC. I don't know, name any giant brand. They have just as much like drama in it, which is just really fascinating.
You know what I find insane?
It's a really good watch.
I find, WWE or wrestling is so unique in the world of
Anything.
It is just so unique. I think the closest I could like say is it's like Pokemon. Or seriously.
It's its own thing.
I'll tell you the one trump card, no pun intended. The one trump card they
Both
have.
of them had, yeah.
The one trump card that this thing has, which none of these others have, is just the live nature of the power that the actual athlete has. Like one big example of the similar era is Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart. Bret Hart was
classic.
Bret Hart was also WWF.
Bret the Hitman Hart.
He was WWF champion. He was like basically the follower that finally was able to have legs after Hulk. After Hulk left, they had Lex Luger. They had this guy, that guy. Nobody like really managed to capture it as much, right? Basically, their phase 2 didn't work out so well. So finally, for phase 3, they get Bret Hart, and Bret Hart is good. Everybody loves Bret Hart. But then he also comes to a point where he's like, all right, listen, hang on. So Vince says, fine. You're going to go, I know you're going to go to WCW. It's fair enough. They're offering you more money for less work. You're going to work fewer hours. It's less brutal and you make more money. Of course, you're going to take that. I understand that. But when you do that for me, because you're my boy, do it clean. I want you to lose this championship. Give my belt, which is my Vince McMahon, my belt. Give my belt to Shawn Michaels. So you're going to lose your final match and then you bow out from WWF. You go to WCW. Bret says, no. And he's like, you can't make me, because when it comes to it in the ring,
I can do whatever I
want. So Vince does a dirty.
But isn't he contractually obligated to do some stuff
Now
like that?
that's the thing, because of live nature. What are you going to do when millions of people are watching and you don't see him?
But then you're defaulting your contract, so then you could be sued for it.
Fair enough, but at the end of the day, the narrative is what people want. People want more than anything for the story to work. They don't care how you make the movie. They just want the story to work, right? So when it comes down to it in the ring, Vince is on earpiece with the ref, right? And he tells him, for this next count, just go to 3. And he does. Oh, sorry, not go to 3, but say he tapped out.
Yeah.
Right.
So Shawn Michaels puts Bret Hart in his own sharpshooter.
Yeah. Oh,
He doesn't tap out.
Sharpshooter, I remember that
know
stuff.
what these words mean.
Remember, it's that finishing move.
It's a
He's got
finishing
that
move.
thing. He's got that.
You'll know when you see
Man,
it.
it's so
The
good.
Rock does it as well. A lot of people do it. Anyway.
It's become a common thing.
Basically, like this is shit that I would never know, like unless they were willing to be this candid about it. Which is that when Bret Hart leaves, he leaves completely blindsided about the fact that he told Vince, a big F you, I'm not going to give up my title and I'm going to go to WCW holding both titles. And you're right, that could have been dealt in a legal way, contractually. But instead, Vince is like, fuck you, I'm Vince McMahon. I'm going to fuck you up even more. And he owns the refs. He's like, ref, just say that Shawn won.
Right.
And so the crowd can see that the guy didn't tap out, but the ref called it, the bell rings, Sean goes, hey, I guess I won. And then there's backstage drama, like we have footage, which I didn't know they would ever show us, of real life Bret Hart talking to real life Shawn Michaels being like, did you know? And Shawn's like, buddy, hand to God, I didn't know that he was going to do that because you didn't tap. I saw it, you didn't tap. And this is like real drama. This is no longer scripted, right? So like there's so much of this.
It's so weird.
And you can't get, like, it's like, you're not going to see this happen where like RDJ goes like, actually, no, I'm not going to snap my fingers. Like that can't happen.
To Kevin Feige. Yeah.
That can't happen. But it can in this because this is actually live. Like take away
I
everything
also think
else.
it was a little murkier in the 90s, right? Of course.
Absolutely.
Like 80s, 90s,
I mean, of
yeah,
course.
for
I mean,
sure.
like-
So,
Wrestling in general.
yeah.
There's so much.
Yeah, no, but
But it's
notably.
I
such
find
a-
I find it far more fascinating now than I ever had before. Like as a kid, like I said, I
Yeah, you know, I
it
think
was
the
cute and
fascination is
fun.
in how does something like this exist?
The sausage making for wrestling is
it's crazy.
is insane.
Wow,
It's absolutely
fascinating stuff, man. All right, we got only one last thing to review, which I'm very happy to do so. In fact, at the time of this recording, the season finale has just dropped. I'm talking about Rings of Power on Amazon Prime.
Go on.
Okay, so I really wanted to watch season 2 because I really liked season 1. Okay, season 2 is awesome. It's so good. Listen, okay, I only have a few things to say.
I've heard that
I only
from
have, I only have few,
I've heard that from
I only few things to say. Okay, about Rings of Power. I'm kind of I'm reaching that place even in Star Wars, right? Where I don't have to convince anybody to watch Star Wars. I don't need to convince anybody. This is just for me. Rings of Power has reached that place now where a lot of people hate it. A lot of people don't consider it to be canon, Lord of the Rings at all. I think the stuff that they're doing on the show is awesome. Because there is no way that we would be able to see this. Like, I'm so glad we are seeing this part of the story. The whole of season 2 is spent with Sauron and in Eregion manipulating Celebrimbor to forge the Rings of Power. And you know, we've read about this. We saw the opening sequence of Fellowship. So we've seen that. But you never know how the actual conversations go. How did this guy convince this high Elvin Smith to kind of do this job, right? To actually do this. And they've done it. Like it's not a perfect show by any stretch of the imagination. Some of the plot lines are so unnecessary. Right now, there's one going on with the Hobbits, the Harfoots, and this who we consider to be Gandalf. It's so unnecessary right now because they also introduced Tom Bombadil. Okay, he was a fan favorite.
Yeah, how is he?
So whatever in this show. he's so whatever in this show.
I remember just how butthurt all the like Uber Tolkien fans were when Fellowship came out. They're like, "Where's Bombadil?" I was like, "What's a Bombadil?" And this is-
He's in the
there
books.
you go.
Okay, no, but he's so much more fun in the books, right? He's this guy who can't be caught. He's just like a wistful spirit,
He's a
immortal.
mischievous imp.
He's so boring in this show.
Right.
Gandalf is more interesting. Anyway, whatever, it doesn't matter. That entire section, the only thing cool about it was like they're in Rune, which is in the eastern side of Middle Earth. And you never get to see it in live action. You only read a little bit about it, but that's where all the Haradrim come from at the fields of Pelennor when they're fighting in Return of the King. This is where all these guys come from, the Mumakil, all that stuff. So they show a little bit of that. That's cool. But the best part of the show is the orcs and this Adar character and how he's telling them that he actually cares about the orcs. Like, he cares about them. Like, whereas Sauron and Saruman have just been using them. It's Sauron, Celebrimbor, Adar and the orcs, and Elrond and Galadriel's whole thing about, what do we do with these parts? And then, yes, there's Durin also and his father. Dude, these arcs are cool, man. Like, there's a lot of, like, fast travel. It doesn't make sense in terms of like how timing works. Yeah, because they're jumping back and forth between Lindon and and Eregion, which are not close by. Then there's also this subplot in Numenor right now with Isildur's father, Elendil, and like what's happening there, and there's some comic book villainy going on over there. It's nonsense. That part of the show is nonsense. But the Sauron part, okay, can I tell you, the best part of the show, Sauron is awesome.
Okay, good.
He is
That's good to
awesome.
know.
That guy who played him in the first season
Halbrand.
completely transforms in this. Like, so he goes through this entire process, awesome VFX. And he changes, and now he's like elf-like, and he renames himself Anatar, the Lord of Gifts. And he's just got like elven ears. He's got blonde hair.
Oh, so they didn't recast him.
No, it's him, and he's so good. You know, it's like Sauron convincing this guy. Every time he does something, he convinces him. He's like, actually, no, why don't you try this? And like, he won't be at the side going like Dick Dastardly, going like, ugh. He's just like, he just watches. Like, he's genuinely like terrifying and creepy, and like fucking cool, man. Like, he's awesome. Sauron is amazing.
Give me the one spoiler of the only thing I was like mildly curious about.
What?
Where's our Gandalf guy at?
So he is in Rune. He's in the east.
How far along in his metamorphosis is
So he speaks fluently now.
Oh, that's nice.
He's speaking like a young little Gandalf.
Okay.
And he's basically looking for. I mean, it's a really elongated plot for him. He's looking for a staff, like he's an Istar, right? So he needs a. Like,
So now it like cat's out of the bag. He's Gandalf.
No.
Oh.
They've not named it. He doesn't have a name. In fact, they've just pussyfooted around it, saying that everybody needs a name. What about John or something? He's like, no, only a person who lives the name can know the name. Shit like that. Okay, it's really stupid because they have to jump between these very like differing plot lines, so it can be really jarring, and they can only devote like 2 episodes per character almost.
Yeah.
But they've spent the most time on Sauron, which I'm glad, and Kelly Brimbor, who's brilliant, like in this show, and
So
how
he
he
hasn't-
gets fucking fucked by this guy, man.
So
It's
Gandalf
amazing.
hasn't progressed beyond he speaks now.
Yeah, he meets Tom Bombadil, who just speaks in bloody riddles. I know that's the whole character, but like it's also really annoying when you watch it. So it's like it's fine, but the show it's got some cool shit. Like you're seeing the forging, and we've not even gotten to the One Ring, at least by the time I've seen it. So they've made the 3 rings for the elves, they make the 7 rings for the dwarves, and then how they get to the 9 rings for men, it's cool, man. Cool. Like if you like all this shit, if you like Lord of the Rings, there's something awesome in this show. I'm waiting for my Redditor friend, the editor, okay, who basically took all the Star Wars shows and converted them into 2-hour movies.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to do that for this show.
That
I'd watch.
Then I will watch it.
I'd watch
Yes.
that.
I'm on it.
Upload
Yes,
that
I'm
to the
on
Google
it.
Drive.
I'm on it. I'm on it
upload
because it's cool. It's some cool shit.
Cool.
All right. That is the last of
That's the
our reviews, and that's our episode for this fortnight. And we're gonna be back. Obviously, we're gonna have Just News Games.
Can't
We're
get
gonna
rid
do
of
some
our studies.
recommendations. We're gonna do some more stuff in our next episode of the Geek Fruit Show. See you later, you nerds.
Bye.